Let's get right to the latest developments in the coronavirus pandemic. Overnight, an abrupt reversal from President Trump, who briefly floated the idea of imposing a quarantine on New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
That notion was met with a swift pushback from the governors of those states, after which the president said he would instead issue a travel advisory.
Also overnight, a significant jump in the numbers here in New York City, where we now have more than 30,000 cases and almost 700 deaths. Nationally, we're at more than 120,000 cases and more than 2,000 deaths. We have team coverage this morning, and we start with ABC's Stephanie Ramos right here in Times Square. Stephanie, good morning to you.
Dan, good morning. The governors of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut reacting strongly against the president's idea to quarantine the region, calling it an illegal lockdown. The CDC has now put in place travel warnings instead as COVID-19 cases in New York go up. This morning, New York City alone now has more than 30,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus and more than 200 deaths in just the last 24 hours. President Trump tweeting overnight that a federally enforced quarantine of the region will not be necessary and is instead having the CDC issue a strong travel advisory, urging New York area residents to not travel domestically for at least 14 days. The decision coming hours after New York's governor hit back at a quarantine proposal floated by the president, raising fears that the government would shut down major parts of the Northeast.
And if you start walling off areas all across the country, it would just be totally bizarre, counterproductive, anti-American, anti-social.
Trump has said governors from states less affected by the virus asked him to look into a quarantine for the tri-state area.
I don't believe it would be legal. I believe it would be illegal. I don't believe you can say you cannot leave the state of New York.
Some states implementing stricter measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Florida, South Carolina, Texas, Maryland, and Rhode Island ordering visitors from New York to self-quarantine for 14 days. The Sunshine State even setting up checkpoints on I-95 looking for New Yorkers. In Rhode Island, the National Guard scouring neighborhoods looking for cars with New York plates.
Folks from New York present a different kind of danger to the people of Rhode Island. I know this is unusual, I know it's extreme, and I know some people don't agree with it.
Governor Cuomo threatening to sue Rhode Island if they don't scale back the policy of tracking residents from the Empire State. Rhode Island's governor responding this morning, saying the Ocean State will expand the quarantine requirement to all out-of-state travelers. New York, the epicenter of the crisis, is still in need of medical supplies. In the midst of travel warnings and social distancing, the president traveling to Virginia to send off the U.S. Navy hospital ship as it sails to New York City. But outside of New York, the pandemic hitting another grim milestone, claiming its youngest life yet in Illinois.
There has never before been a death associated with COVID-19 in an infant. If you haven't been paying attention, maybe this is your wake-up call.
Illinois preparing to become one of the nation's next hotspots. The governor there fearing they won't be able to shore up supplies while competing against other states and the government for orders.
But those who are at the bottom of the list may not see ventilators until, potentially months after they peak in terms of their COVID patients in their hospitals.
And a dire warning in Louisiana. COVID-19 cases spreading fast after Mardi Gras. 3,000 people infected. Hospitals full. The mayor of New Orleans saying she was not encouraged to cancel the festivities. Instead, administration officials publicly stated the virus was being contained.
We were hearing from the federal government that the virus was contained.
A Louisiana senator hoping one of the Navy's floating ships can be sent there too. In California, trails and beaches closed. Law enforcement taking to the sky to enforce restrictions. Governor Newsom saying the Golden State has received more ventilators from the national stockpile, but 170 of them are broken, but telling our Matt Gubman they'll be up and running soon.
They may not be working, but we're fixing them. So the fact is, we have the asset, we have the mindset, and we're going to solve a problem in 72 hours.
California's governor has also touted that the state has administered 90,000 COVID-19 tests, but they've only received test results for about 30,000. The governor says people are waiting 7 to 10 days for those results, and that's a sign of a possible surge in cases to come. Whit?
Yeah, the timing of those results continues to be an issue. Stephanie Ramos for us. Thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.